Hey everyone, how you doing? Hopefully you're having a good long weekend. We're doing our recording here on July 1st. I was going to say June 1st. July 1st. So happy Canada Day. How you doing, Linda?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks, Gary, again for setting this all up for me. It's just fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's a blast. Absolutely. Yeah. Now you've been out busy today. You were out lawn bowling from what you're saying.
Yeah, lawn
Getting some
bowling,
exercise. Good for
totally,
you.
totally great. It was just a wonderful day to spend July 1st and just mingle around with different people.
Yeah. Good
And I
stuff.
bounced off a couple ideas off of the guys. I was the skip on the team, and I had two men as my lead and my vice. So that was exciting, and we split games 1-1. So I'm happy with that, and so are they.
Good. Good
I
stuff.
warned them what we were going to be talking about though today.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I said we're going to be doing men's health, and they went ooh. So right away, everybody everybody gets sensitive. Why
Yeah.
is that?
Oh,
What
yeah, men's health. Yeah, we kind of cringe a little bit because we all go to a certain spot when it comes to men's health. Yeah, put on the old rubber glove.
Yeah, I guess so, because I was listening to an interesting program for my continuing education as we have to keep up with that. And the fellow was great because he was saying that, men's health span and lifespan is dependent on things above the belt as well as below the belt.
Well, this should be a good conversation because when we talk about men's health, we always think below the belt, but yeah, I mean, above the belt. That'll be interesting to get your thoughts and what does that mean above the belt? Where do you want to start? Above or below?
Well, how about this? We're going to start with maybe like why is it that guys don't want to come in and deal with their issues, whatever they are? It's kind of like the 11th hour. I love them dearly because they're committed by then. They want to do something.
I subscribe to that. Not as much as I used to, but yeah, I know. I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know if it's fear, whether it's we just don't want to. Okay, we'll look at that later. When it gets
It'll
really
go
bad,
away.
it might go away, and if it doesn't, we'll look at it later. I don't know. We all seem to be wired to a certain degree that way. I know I am.
Agreed. And I think, there's an interesting crossover that just popped into my mind about the difference between men and women. Um, And it's not men and women, it's not gender specific, as I would be reminded by my mentors, because there's a bit on both sides.
Yeah.
Um, but, women will want to deal with something and
Yeah.
they'll want to talk about it or they'll want to fix it or whatever. And guys are kind of like, it'll get better on its own, give it some time, it'll come around. They have more of that patience that it'll sort itself out. And
Or
maybe
or
that's what
even
it is.
Yeah, or even it's like, okay, you get the honeydew list. Okay, could you do all these things? And yeah, when I get around to it, it's like, it,
Yeah, that could be, and
I,
men's health, I think, could base itself on a lot of burnout. So,
hmm,
that's above the belt. That's the stuff in the head and in the heart. They have more communication issues when it comes to disclosing what exactly the problems might be there.
right,
Nobody wants to admit that they're tired or they're anxious or they just can't do it anymore. It's just
right. Yeah, yeah, that's actually a really good point because, sometimes you know, um, someone in your life may say, so how you doing? And it's always, yeah, I'm doing good. We never want to share, deeper feelings, right? Or have the conversation, whatever it is, right? Yeah. So we kind of like, yeah. Can we talk about that later? I'm really busy right now. Can
yeah.
can we get to that later or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, above the belt things are exactly this ability to address one's health or one's worries or concerns. And hence, that's why cardiovascular disease is still the number one killer for men. And then comes lung cancer. It is not prostate cancer. So it's not the
Mm.
below the belt things, even though when we talk about men's health, that's where we all want to focus. Um,
So
so
cardio, uh, heart heart stuff and lung stuff, even if you're not smoking.
even if you're not smoking, can even be like,
Whoa.
asthma,
Yeah.
chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. There are quite a few things that are going on with men's lungs, and then the next would be, colon cancer
Right.
after prostate cancer. So there's a number of issues. Skin, men also, that's above the belt, but it can be
Yeah.
anywhere, of course. But we're all concerned about how our complexion is. And this might be for younger guys when they're, concerned about acne and um, different kinds of skin conditions that can arise when they're starting to go through puberty, because those surges and changes in hormones can bring out the best and the worst of us, right?
Right. And then, like you said, above the belt is what's going on up here, which
Hmm.
can affect everything,
Everything.
everything below the neck, right? The heart, the skin, right? I mean, we get stressed out and we break out
We
or
eat wrong.
eat wrong. Yeah, exactly.
So, and when I was looking at the statistics of men's health, because it was focused on longevity as well and living well. So nutrition and vitamin deficiencies are not up there
Yeah.
as being a leading cause of death. So guys, they do tend to eat okay. It's not going to kill them, but they
Right.
may not be the healthiest. So when you're looking at preventative health as opposed to 911 health, hey, I need some help. I'm coming in to see you. Um, because my immune system isn't operating the way I need it to. So,
Right.
some lingering coughs or other colds or pneumonias or whatever seem to be hanging on. So, what can I do next time so I don't have to deal with this, right?
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's where the nutrition information, vitamins and supplements comes into it.
Right. Right.
Yep,
Well, that
part
makes
of
sense.
it's in keeping guys away from processed foods. I mean,
Are we
mm,
bad for that? Like, in your opinion, based on what you've seen, we're more susceptible to processed foods.
I'm tying it in with I'm too busy, and
Yeah.
maybe they catch things or they do things or they choose things that are just available as opposed to maybe not the healthiest choice.
And I fall into that category. I totally agree. I get so busy. It's like I'm hungry. I need something now because I got to keep moving. And so you look for something that you can just get down and get somewhat satiated, so that you're not thinking or looking at your hunger. Yeah, we're really bad for that.
Yeah,
I know a lot of guys that are very similar to that.
yeah, and food prep, may not be. There's this concept of salads and vegetables is taking more time to prep, so guys don't want to spend their time doing that. But now there's no excuse for that because there's a lot of pre-packaged,
Yeah,
right? That you
yeah,
can just go into the store, grab it all ready to go, and then you just add a few more fixings and you're done.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So
So
what?
it's
So go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. So what other things above the belt would you say that affects overall men's health, that a person should be aware of, or at least to be cognizant of?
Yeah, cognizant. There's the word. So a lot of guys, as part of their aging process, will start to notice things like memory,
Mm,
maybe not being where it used to be. And of course, it depends on one's history. Like if you've been not eating well, if you've been doing a lot of drinking and smoking and have started to clean up your act, maybe memory is one of those things that's falling behind on account of the fallout of that.
right.
So, um, I think it's important just to cover off on the basics. So when you're doing, we'll talk about tests for a minute here. By the time you're actually seeing numerical values of change, whether it's a PSA test or a cholesterol, it's usually well beyond just sort of a, oh, this is something easy to reverse. You're already
Right.
into the thick of it. And
Right.
men can have thyroid problems. They don't always get screened for them because it's associated to being a female problem.
Right.
So you got to completely have a comprehensive blood work assessment, follow your blood pressure, look at your family history. So there's a number of things that men, when they are making plans to live healthier and longer. So I mean, pharmaceuticals are keeping us all living longer, but how well are you actually living? Like, what quality of life and how many prescription drugs do you want to be on just to maintain yourself? So perhaps looking at that in our 30s, 40s, 50s will then allow us to live a better quality of life when we're 60, 70, 80, 90. I'm going to a 91st birthday tonight, as I was mentioning.
That's cool.
So that's lots of fun. And he's somebody that's 91 that looks 71. It's just amazing.
That's cool. That's cool.
So
Yeah,
it's
and I
possible.
suspect too that, as we're dealing with these things, a lot can be said about um, environmental things. Now, I'm not talking about
Mm,
environmental as in, chemicals, that sort of stuff. That takes into consideration. But the stress that we have,
yes.
maybe, with the economy that's all gone crazy, guys that were thinking, hey, I'm going to retire this year and now I can't because they've lost a bunch of stuff on their investments. And so that stress that
Hmm.
we're all feeling through COVID and all these other things has got to have some effect on our health as well, right?
Right. And men need to understand that they can support their bodies through these stressful ups and downs because we're not going to get away from it.
Yeah.
And how can we help our bodies cope better? So do they take a vitamin B complex? Are they taking vitamin D? Maybe they need a good men's multi for their age group.
Right.
Zinc is one of the micro minerals that has always been considered to be a men's mineral because it
Mm.
helps the prostate gland, the seminal fluid, all of those things when it comes to reproductive health. So, and it's important in immune function, as we all have come to understand these past couple of years. So,
Yeah.
um, they can start to do things that will enhance their cognition, as we were talking, things above the belt, will help their skin, like if they're drinking enough water. Lots of little tips that they can just add to their everyday lifestyle that's going to contribute to their overall health. No question.
Yeah. And just based on the conversation, I'm assuming all of these things that we would be doing to help above the belt are going to help below the belt as well.
Absolutely. And, we don't have to go running off and having testosterone tested as being a primary hormone responsible for any um, negative symptoms that we're experiencing. As I've mentioned in other programs, we always want to look further upstream. So we were just talking about stress.
Right.
Well, testosterone will be influenced by stress. So is it really a testosterone issue or is it a stress issue?
Right. Right.
And yes, you can mitigate things temporarily, but that may not be in one's best interest to approach it that way.
Yeah, I guess, and you're a real advocate for finding the cause as opposed to dealing the symptom, which is really, which I totally agree is probably the most important thing. And sometimes it takes a little while to figure out what is the cause, right? Because it could be a cascading thing, like you're just describing that. Okay, it's not this, it's something
Mm.
upstream, like you said. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, we all get a little impatient. We want to have some results
Right.
because we can't be waiting all the time. So, yes, of course, in naturopathic medicine, we can offer some things that will symptomatically offer some relief. But we should keep in mind that maybe we need to alter a few lifestyle issues that we might be, experiencing, or what's our exposure. So a lot of guys in the oil field don't understand or appreciate just what their exposure levels might be to a lot of toxic chemicals or elements. So that can affect prostate health. It can affect your memory. It can affect your cardiovascular health. So, again, having a hair mineral analysis or something that can extrapolate what might be going on there, super important.
Well, like that one guy that you had that had all of these crazy things that were out markers that were out of place from his hair analysis, and you were able to treat him, but it was an environmental thing that was causing his health issues, and wouldn't have known it without a hair analysis that he was even having these kinds of things going on, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, the heavy metals can affect all of us and any of us, and neurologically as well. But cadmium is one of the heavy metals that's associated with smoking, for instance, or
Mm,
people that are exposed to welding and painting, besides lead and arsenic. There's these other professions or careers that could predispose men to toxic fumes that they don't really think that they're uh, strong enough that would have impact.
right.
So, and it's an accumulative, like it's
Right.
over
It's
time.
the length of exposure. A one-time thing's not going to do much, but continued exposure to different things for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and even
So,
household cleaning things I can imagine would have effect if you're constantly using them, not using gloves. I can remember back in the day when I was 19, I was a mechanic and washing bearings, that had grease with Varsol with bare hands, with no gloves, washing the bearings out and then repacking the bearings. And it's like, holy moly, how much, benzene and all these different chemicals that were just being absorbed into my body. It's like, oh my gosh. And we didn't know back then, right?
yes, yes, exactly. So a common one, let's talk about some of the common conditions that guys are coming in these days to see me about. And of course, immune system is right up there, lingering problems with either COVID exposure or um, gout is another one
What is
because
gout?
of
Because
stress.
what is gout?
It's uric acid buildup in the system. It's really an inflammatory condition. And they say that alcohol, sugar, red meats, these types of heavier foods and liquids will contribute to the not clearing of uric acid from the blood as
Oh,
effectively. And they say that the clearing of uric acid, because of course the pharmaceutical you use, allopurinol and a few others, that are that's what it gloms onto the uric acid. But why wouldn't you start to look at, well, why am I not clearing uric acid? I
hmm.
mean, my buddies are drinking and eating red meat. How come I can't tolerate it?
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
So, we have to look at that. And I guess men also look at what's going on with their hair. So, they're always looking.
For those who have it.
So conditions about the quality of one's circulation, and looking at the diet, and also genetics, of course.
Right,
What's the family history, and what's the reality of dealing with that is super important.
right.
And they will also into me, believe it or not, one of the other top skin conditions that guys come in and question is dandruff. They have
Mm,
problems with dandruff. Head and Shoulders might be able to control some of that with its selenium content, but uh, dandruff is also a form of fungus. So
mm,
it's probably a high level of fungus generally in their body, not just externally, but internally.
right.
So looking at what, again, the diet is, their alcohol consumption will help them with dandruff. And then the next other one is people, and we're in summer now, is sweat and body odor. So
Mhm.
they got stinky feet, They got sweaty armpits. They don't want to use aluminum hydroxide to as an antiperspirant. So what do? Well, it's time for a detox, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to start moving that lymphatic system and clear debris out, and then the body odor will drop. Yeah, super important. And those are kind of the top findings that I'm having at the moment. And I always monitor men's blood pressure, look at their thyroid, take a look at their quality of sleep, because, of course, if you're not sleeping, how can you cope? And what's your level of resilience
Do
then
you
if you're not getting enough sleep?
do you find a lot of men with the stress and stuff have, their adrenals are burnt right out?
Crispy, some of them.
Crispy Kentucky Fried.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
they're just as guilty for, pushing through and doing things beyond without taking, care. And, you know, you're going
Yeah.
to play hard, work hard. You got
Yeah.
to rest
Yeah.
and sort of bank that energy and not expend it all the time. Otherwise, yeah, when it comes to a push, you don't have any extra in the bank to get you
Yeah.
through that. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Sound
Exactly.
familiar, Gary? I don't know.
I've heard it. I can't really place. Yeah. Guilty. Guilty is charged.
So I'm always looking forward to people emailing me and asking questions, and if they want to direct something into their husband or friends, family, I'm always open to having a quick conversation on the phone, or people can just email me. What do you think of this? And what kind of ideas do you have on besides a pharmaceutical or surgery? What
Yeah.
else can I do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah. And with that, yeah, make sure that, if you have any questions, please reach out. You can always make a comment here below, and we will monitor that, or you can just email Linda directly. You can go to her website, drlindacodner.com. Is it?
It's
Yeah,
just
Dr.
lindacodner.com.
lindacodner.com. And Linda would be happy to either book an appointment or give you some quick advice if it's something quick and easy. But
Absolutely.
thanks so much for all this information, and for those men out there, you're not alone with regards to putting things off, but that's not the best way. So if we can just inch our way a little bit closer to being more proactive as opposed to reactive when things get bad, it'd probably be better for us, especially as we get a little bit older. And I do recommend getting some of these tests as you get older too. Hair analysis. I sent in the 23andMe, the more expensive one that gives you all the more the I guess it's more
Details.
details. Yeah.
Hmm.
So haven't got that back yet, but I'll get that to Linda, and she's going to tell me how bad I am.
No, no, no. We're going to put it through a medical platform and see what it comes up with as far as recommendations. And I think that's sort of important. In June is Men's Health Month. I just wanted to touch on it briefly. I didn't want to go into any gory details of any particular type. If people have something specific they want me to talk about, I would be happy to do that and just go through some interesting details that aren't necessarily always covered with conventional medicine. There's
Right.
always another way to spin it, to using the same physiology, the same chemistry, biochemistry, but it's also bringing in those other factors that we tend to leave to the sidelines. We're all one system, everything is communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the prostate is part of the kidneys and it's part of the bladder. It's all one system.
It's in that system. Yeah.
Yes. So it's all connected. And then, of course, how we're feeling here affects everything, as you said earlier. So,
Yeah. Cool.
All very important.
All very important. Well, this is great. Thank you, Linda, so much and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us out, and all this stuff is free, so it helps us as you like and subscribe. We know you're interested, and if you have anything that you'd like to see, don't hesitate to put that in the comments. We're always looking for different types of topics that we can kind of sink our teeth into and go from there. But anyways, Linda, thank you so much. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, Linda, and everyone else out there. Enjoy the long weekend.
Take care.
Bye for now.
Bye.